Hi guys, and welcome to Ms Nhi Podcast. Obviously, I'm not Ms Nhi once again. I'm Denise, the guest host for some of our episodes on Ms Nhi Podcast, and I have here with me a lovely guest. Lovely because he is very cute. I've met him in person before. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, let me introduce a little bit about myself. My name is Fu. You can call me Peter as well. Currently, I'm working as a dormitory teacher at FPT High School. And outside of work, I also a volunteer for NhiLe Team. I also learn other stuff to upgrade myself every single day. So that is
Okay.
me.
Yes, that is him. What teacher did you say you were? Dormitory teacher?
Uh, Yes, I'm a teacher at a dormitory, which means that what I do is to manage student activities in the school dormitory.
Ah,
Um,
okay. I get what you mean. So
yeah,
you kind of like help them, guide them when they do homework. You kind of help them also. Really? You do that? Oh my God. He's a teacher, people. Okay, please listen to whatever he has to say. Okay, thanks for the introduction, Peter. Sorry, I had to mute myself for a moment to clear my throat. So that was where first met Peter. His energy. Okay, what actually caught my eye first was his energy. His energy is off the roof. His madness. You should have seen him bouncing on the stage and asking everybody to dance, 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 dance. His madness. Okay, after 3 days, 3 full days, and I was looking at him. Even looking at him, I felt tired already because I'm old, right? And then I'm like, oh my god, this guy has so much energy. He's going to bounce off the ceiling very soon. That was what I felt lah. So that's what I caught my eye. Okay, today we're going to talk a little bit about. We have a specific topic that we want to talk about today, but before we go into that, um, do you want to tell us a little bit about your journey so far in terms of your self development?
yeah. Uh, First, I remember a very important saying that when you suffer enough, you find a way. And I have been jobless for almost 2 years, and I don't know what I do, what I do in life, what I wanted to achieve, and I have no clue about my strengths. So I send the message to the universe, and that's why I know NhiLe and NhiLe Team from a short video on TikTok, and I decided for that moment to join NhiLe Team. And also it's a special challenge, 99 day with NhiLe. And also I decided to join Money and You program. And this is such a big step for me for my own development. And from that course, I discovered my own strengths, my own energy, and that's why I use it to make a great impact on other people.
Yeah, it's true. You made a huge impact actually. So through the journey, have you come to realize what is it that you want from life at this point in time?
Actually, 2 years ago, I have no idea what I wanted to do in life, but I had this calling that I have to find out who I am, what I wanted to achieve, and what I wanted to give back to the world. And that's why I always telling myself that I need to do something to to help me to further steps that have my grow developments to the point
Mm.
right now.
Mm.
And
So,
I also yeah, and I also
no,
focus on the ikigai zone. And now I
mm,
know what I wanted to do. There's three special things I really do want to. First, translating, and
mm,
second, dancing, and also as a working as a mentor. to help other people
Oh,
as well.
okay. So yeah, dancing. That reminds me because I was just talking to my husband. I was like, hey, later the guest I'm doing the podcast for is Peter. I mean, you know my husband. You've met him before, right?
Yeah,
And then he was like, oh yeah. He does quite a few dance videos on his Facebook. His dance is quite groovy. I was like, oh, groovy. I'm gonna check out your dance videos later. I haven't had a chance to look at them yet. I'll go stalk your Facebook later. But it's
yeah,
great to hear that you are clear on what you want to achieve. So dancing, mentoring, you're kind of doing that already, right? Being a dormitory teacher, I think, in a way.
yeah. Actually, mentoring as a teacher at the dormitory is really a tough job to me because I have to act as multiple roles. I have to act
Mm,
as a parent, as a teacher, as a brother, and also as a friend to my
mm.
students. I have
How
to
old are the
learn
students?
what they are at school, high school, so they are at 16, 16.
16 is a very difficult age, actually.
Yeah. So I have
Mm,
to learn about what they are really interested in, what
mm,
personality they tend to have, and
mm.
what their strengths and motivators are. So I have to design a way of communication to convey my message to each of my students.
I think so. Sounds like something great. What was the very first thing you wanted to achieve? You said dancing, mentoring. The very first one was what? The first thing
Um,
that was.
translating,
Oh yeah,
translating.
translating. Okay. Yeah, I think you will make a great translator because sometimes translating is not just about the language, right? It's also about the feeling and the vibe that you bring across to your
Yeah.
audience. Okay. It's okay lah. I think it's meant to be. Okay. there's the background glasses. Regardless whether he sits further away from the screen or not, the glasses is going to reflect because we have a team that's back end helping us to look good and sound good. Thanks team. And yeah, the glasses will always reflect one. It's okay. It's okay. He's still cute. It's fine. I love making fun of Peter because he gets shy very, very easily. So I'll obviously say things and then after he'll be like, why are you saying that to me? Okay, I'm very curious also about um, what actually inspires you the most nowadays. Do you have somebody or somebody's more than one person that you kind of look up to in life and that really that inspires you to move forward lah, basically.
Mm. Actually, there are two people that I look up to and inspire me the most. The first person that influenced me, I think, is my mom because she
Mm,
takes good care of the family. She is such a caring housewife, and I feel so grateful for she take good care of me for all those years. The second person I believe is NhiLe Anne. Is such a great and an honorable mentor to me. And I believe there is a time for everything. When the
mm,
student is ready, the master appears. And that is
mm,
her. Yes.
mm. Okay. From your mom, what were the biggest lessons that you learned from your mom?
Um, the biggest lesson I learned from her is she always thinks for other people first.
Mm,
So I learned from her that it is time for me to stop being selfish and know
mm,
how to think for other people.
mm. That's
Yeah,
true. Then about from NhiLe, my dear co-host Anne, what were the things that you learned from her? I'm just like really curious.
yeah. From NhiLe, and there are two lessons I always remember about. First, discipline, and the second is self-study. So if you have these two skills, you are the best and unstoppable in this world.
It's true. Discipline, if you have discipline and consistency, and then self study, yeah, you are more or less invincible already because you can just take action and continue. Okay, that was very interesting because for me, I'm always curious about how Anne's mentees see her because to me she's a friend, so my experience of her will be different from your experience of her. That's why I was curious and I wanted to know a little bit more. Okay, I also want to dive straight into today's topic, which obviously Peter is the one who picked it, um,
Yeah.
about learning how to stop beating ourselves up. I'm sure all of us do that at one point or another. So tell us, what is your tip, or what is your how far you've come on your journey about
Mm.
beating ourselves? Okay, when we say beating ourselves up, we do not mean physically, like really beating ourselves up, but it's kind of like the voice in our head that goes, "Hi, why did you do that? You're so stupid. You should have done this instead. You see lah, fail again." You know those kind of voices, right? So this is what we are talking about, right?
Mm. Actually, I used to care a lot about what other people think about me, and I always feel bad about myself. I feel that I am not good enough, and
Mm,
actually, until now, I still do, but less much.
that's
I
much, yeah.
believe, yeah, I believe that sometimes you have to know how to feel the essence, and you have to equip yourself a strong filter to know
Mm,
what is the positive feedback and what is the negative criticism, and that's how you can choose to have some kind of response instead of reaction. There's one time I someone looked down on my voice when I speak English. I feel
mm,
bad too, but somebody told me that you okay. I can understand your English, and
yeah.
your communication is very clear. So you don't have
Mm,
to beat yourself up. You don't have to invalidate yourself. Just
mm,
correct the mistakes and get improved on a daily
yeah, and
basis.
move on. Mm.
Yes. So
So
that's
that
why
was what you
I
learned.
yes, that's how I learned to stop beating myself up and stop invalidating myself.
So, but I'm sure there are okay. To be fair, to be honest, I also am on the journey of not letting what other people think of me affect me. I've come quite far already, but there's obviously some days where it still happens. It still gets to us. We were just talking about people who are not so smart, getting on our nerves. So, when that happens, how do you deal with that? when it
Uh,
when it happens, obviously it's a lot less often now, but when it happens, how do you deal with it?
so when it happens, I choose to sit back and
Mm,
reflect on what is going on, what
mm,
is the message to me, and
mm,
so what should I do now?
mm,
If I should react or respond is at my choice. So
mm,
I calm myself down. I try myself to be calm in every situation, and
mm.
then I just move away, move on, walk away from that. And I know now I do it very well.
No, you walk away very well, huh?
Yes.
Okay. That's a great. Okay, so for our listeners, a little bit of context: response versus reaction. Reaction is like a knee-jerk reaction, so this is instinctual. Not much thought goes into it. So, for example, if you're angry and then you punch somebody, that's probably a reaction. But a response means that you have thought about it. It's a calculated action or words that you put out there in response to a situation. So, just for our listeners, here's a little bit of context when we talk about response versus reactions. Okay,
Uh,
thanks for sharing.
Actually,
Continue there.
there's one more thing I want to share that in the past I was easily triggered in
Ah, you
terms of
were?
emotions. Yes, in terms of emotion, and when I felt angry, I
Hmm.
want to punch someone in the face.
Mm.
But you know that I paid a very good price for doing that. So
Heavy
in
price.
retrospect, yeah, heavy price. In retrospect, I have to think about it very
Mm.
clearly. Uh,
Mm.
if there is that next scenario happens again, so what should I
Mm.
do?
Mm.
I choose to walk away. I choose to breathe in and breathe out, and just
Mm.
don't give a damn about it. And that's how I
Mm.
do now.
That's great. Like 3 deep breaths. And then it's like, oh,
Yes,
okay. It's not gonna matter in the next, I don't know, 5 minutes. It's over, so it's fine. Let's not think about that anymore. Is that what you do?
yes, that what I do every day.
What he does every day. I can imagine like you must be a lot of not so smart people. Then every day, then you're like, I breathe. Peter, you need to breathe.
Yes, and that's how I can take control of my emotions. Otherwise, I'm gonna pay a very heavy price.
I know, for
Just
beating someone up for being stupid, because sometimes I want to do that too. Some people ask very stupid questions, and I'm like, I feel like slapping you, but well, I will not.
yeah.
Okay, I got an interesting question for you. You currently are a dormitory teacher, a dancer, and also a translator. You are a translator already because you translated for the program. So you are already a translator. In your journey so far, what are some of the things that keeps you going on days? I'm sure we all have those days where maybe we feel a bit tired, we are a little bit demotivated, we don't want to do things, we don't want to get out of bed. What keeps you going on those days?
So what keep me going on those days is none other than dancing. Yeah.
Oh,
Sometimes, yes.
you
Sometimes
dance
I
out of bed.
post. Yeah. Sometimes I post a lot of video of me dancing on Facebook story. You see my strong movement. You see my happiness. But actually, I release my energy, release angry energy outside, and that's
Mm-mm-mm.
why I can keep my day going on without beating myself up, without invalidating myself. And I think it is such a good way for me until now.
Okay, I get what you mean. So the dancing is what helps you to release all the negative energy and the frustration and the irritation that other people has brought into your life.
Yes, and what I feel fulfilled is that I see my improvement on the dancing
Mm.
journey instead of perfection. So on
Mm.
the scale from 1 to 10, I used to be 3 or 4, and now I am 6 or 7, and I know that in the future I'm gonna be an 8 or 9 if I keep practicing, correcting myself without invalidating myself.
You can only get better if you practice
Yes,
and correct.
and
There
sure
is no
enough,
other
I'm
way.
gonna be yes, I'm sure enough I'm gonna be the better version of myself in the future, and
Of
I know that.
course. I just had in one of our podcast episodes, I had a guest and he said a sentence which really resonated with me. And I think in this case, it's very appropriate to say it. to see how far you have come, right? Like today, even your worst day is better than your best maybe a year ago. You get what I
Yeah.
mean? Mm.
Uh,
So that really, really resonated with me, and I think that's what you're saying as well. Like even your most horrible, like when you're at your lowest point now, is still better than your best point maybe 2 years ago. So that's like how far you have grown and how far you have come, right?
yeah.
And
And
we talk. Continue and
in
go.
fact, I don't see my success at a great point. I just wanted to enjoy the entire journey. So, which
Mm,
is make my whole life great.
through the
And
three things that you wanted to achieve, right?
yeah, that is there are three things I want to achieve in my life, and I'm
Mm-mm.
happy to keep doing that on a daily basis.
Mm, okay. That is wonderful to hear. Actually, it's great that at your young age, how young are you? Forgot. I remember you're very young.
Currently, I'm 26.
Yeah, see, at 26,
20,
you already know what you want to do. I mean, obviously, maybe 5 years later, it may change, right? It can change because people change, and that's fine. But to know what you want to do at 26 years old, I think that's very commendable and lovely because at 26, I was just a big mess and not going anywhere, obviously. So, we talked about what keeps you going. Now we're going to talk a little bit about till today, what is maybe one of your biggest failure or your biggest regret, and what lesson did you learn from it?
I don't see it now. I don't see it a failure. I
Mm,
see a lesson to me.
mm,
And one of the lessons that I learned in the past is everybody is different. Everybody has different motivators and strengths, and I don't have the right to judge anybody. And it's in none of
mm,
my business. I have to respect everyone. So that's why I apply this method into sharing with my students. I redesign a way of communication, of conveying my message to them. They are different actually in terms of personalities and motivators. And I always learn more knowledge and skills to give them what they really want. And they will give back to me what I want.
mm,
So,
mm,
in fact, I develop a mutual relationship between me and my students. Then
mm,
that's what I do now.
mm. I agree. Whatever you put out in the world is what you're gonna attract back, right? So
Yeah.
that is really good. So I thank you for sharing with us your biggest lesson, by the way. And now we talk about a little bit about what are some of the areas, or besides dancing, do you have any other way that you kind of draw strength from, or like you would classify as your resources that has helped you along the way?
Yeah. Actually, I used to beat myself up about how I look in the mirror, and
Oh, you
also
look
how
fine.
in the beginning days, I look weird.
Why?
My movement
Uh,
is awkward. So,
okay.
and now from this on the scale from 1 to 10, I used to be 3 or 4, and now I am 6 or 7. It means
Mm-mm-mm.
that the whole journey I have to practice a lot to see myself in the mirror, to love myself in the mirror, and love my movement, no matter how weird they are. Yeah,
I think weird is good. I like I don't know. I think weird is good because being normal is too normal. I feel it's boring. So being weird is great. And I think you look great. So yeah, I'm glad that you are past that already. But let's say talking about yourself in your self development journey, right? Because right now you're on a journey of self development and self study. Do you have any, let's say, resources or books or podcasts or YouTube or whatever that you draw inspiration from that you would like to share with our listeners and our audience?
In terms of YouTube channels, I learned a lot from NhiLe YouTube
Mm,
channel and also Ms Nhi Podcast. Actually, I learned from Vietnamese knowledge first, which is a very basic foundation for me to learn
mm,
other stuff in English. And then when I turn on to Ms Nhi Podcast, I learn it in English. Sometimes it's still very hard to me to understand what they really want to convey, and I have to reflect back on it in Vietnamese version, and then I
mm,
have to come back here again and again until I understand what they really mean. And this is mean that I combine both Vietnamese and English with the same knowledge. So this is why I develop myself as a good translator.
mm. So, okay, so these are the two resources that he is sharing with everyone. Are there any books? Do you read books?
To be honest, I am not a book lover.
Okay, so
So I'm so
mainly you
sorry.
take in your information through podcasts and videos. Would that be right?
Yeah, and I love listening to podcast more than reading book.
Yeah, so do you have any podcasts besides Ms Nhi Podcast, which we are on right now? Do you have any other podcasts that you really listen to that you would like to share with our listeners and audience?
There's one podcast
You
I
can say,
really love about that is the Cottage Ferry. The Cottage
Co-
Ferry.
the Cottage
Cottage.
Fairy.
Yes. She's the person doing that podcast is
Uh,
very calm. They
ah,
she kind of beautiful girl with her own experiences. She just
mm-mm,
share what her journeys is, and I got inspired by that journey. She doesn't have many friends as well. She learned how to be alone by
mm,
herself and
mm.
still love herself on a daily basis. And that's what I need to learn from her as well.
The Cottage Fairy. So interesting. Oh, okay. I'm gonna look it up later. The Cottage Fairy. There's like the Cottage Witch. Is that? No, we're talking about fairies here. Okay, so thanks for sharing with us that particular resource. Very helpful, obviously, because right now podcast is it's one of the more easier ways I would say to take in new information because as you're traveling or whatever, you can just listening to a podcast, right? Okay, so let's say you just started your self development journey, and I think obviously it's a lifelong journey, right? This self development and self study. But let's say for somebody else who has just started on this self development journey, what kind of advice would you give them, or what would you tell them that they need to focus on?
Um, what I wanted to say is
Mm,
with whatever knowledge and skills you have, the
mm,
more immediately you take action, the sooner you get the result that you want. And
mm,
once again, stop beating yourself up. Stop invalidating yourself that you're not good enough. Just correct the mistake that you have made and get improved
mm,
every single day. Sure
mm.
enough, you gotta be the better version of yourself. Yeah, that's what I wanna
Okay.
share with.
Yes, I know. Mm. We all have that voice. You're not good enough, not good enough. You just have to add two words at the back. I'm not good enough for now. For now, I'm not good enough. For now. Only for now. Okay. So I assume that when you're dancing you feel like your best self. Is that it?
Yeah, I feel that I am happy. I feel
Mm.
that I am with my idol in the right moment.
Who's your
Yeah.
idol?
So Blackpink in your area, Blink.
Blackpink.
Yes.
Do you dance their
Um,
songs?
yeah, I learned from the tutorial video as well, and I feel that they're so good. How can they manage to dance and sing at the same time? They're such a skillful artist, and I
Yes.
have
Yes.
great respect for them.
Yes. It requires a lot of stamina actually, you know. And I was just thinking, like, how do they remember so many different dance steps for every single song that they have? Because every song they have is a different dance step, right? So it makes
Yeah,
you feel like, oh, how can you remember so many different dance steps? Okay, we are all on this journey of self discovery, self study, and self development. If you could go back 5 years ago when you first started your own journey, if you could go back and talk to young Peter, what would you say to him?
well, this is also a tough question for me. Let me
Why?
think. Uh, so if I go back, if I can go back the clock,
Mm-mm.
there's many things I want to say to my old self. And
Mm.
one of
Pick
the
the top
things I
three.
wanted,
Mm.
yeah, one of the thing I wanted to say to me, to my old self, is that stop overthinking. Yeah, stop
Stop thinking and
overthinking,
start doing.
and yeah, start doing. Actually, you do best. You did best with what you could, with what you knew at the point of time.
Mm.
You do whatever you could. So
Mm.
forgive. I forgive yours. I forgive you. I forgive you for making the mistake. I will be the one that have you correct all the mistakes and get improved every day. That I
Mm.
really want to say to me, my old self in the
Mm.
past.
Mm. Yeah, I think there are a lot of things that we would want to tell ourselves in the past. Yeah. And well, I guess we're more or less done with today's podcast episode. And I wanted to say thanks to Peter or Fu, right?
Yes,
Okay. For taking time out for today's podcast session. And I am really happy and glad for you that you have found the direction that you wanted to take for now. Um, and thank you to all our listeners and audience for tuning into this episode of Ms Nhi Podcast. I probably will come on for another episode. So please remember to like, share, subscribe, follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course, we have the YouTube channel as well. And remember to support Peter's dancing career. he with his energy, I think he's a great dancer, lah, huh? So thanks so much for your time today, Peter. Thanks to all our audience for listening to us, and thank you to Ms Nhi for allowing me to be the guest host, and thanks to myself for hosting. Okay, okay. I think this is it. Do you want to say bye, Peter? Is there any last bit of thing that you want to share with our listener or audience?
so let me think.
Okay,
I think
last
there's
words.
one last lesson I want to share with you, that
Mm-mm-mm.
do not do not let your emotion control yourself, otherwise you're gonna pay a very heavy price. That's it.
I agree. I agree because we cannot control our feelings, but we can control our behavior, right? And
Yeah.
that is Peter for you guys, okay, who is 26 but doesn't sound like 26. So then we will see you guys. We will talk to you guys and catch up during the next episode of this new podcast. Remember, like, share, and subscribe, follow, whatever it is. Okay? Bye. Say bye lah. It's a podcast, ma. People listening, you must say bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for continue support my Ms Nhi Podcast, and don't forget to